Welcome back to Evolving Vibes. So for this video today, I thought it would be especially important to talk about energy. Now, one misconception that I feel personally anyway about witches is that we manipulate energy. And I can understand to the extent why that's suggested, but in my viewpoint, I think we actually can manage energy, and that's our secret. And so in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you some of the more common ways that we can actually cleanse ourselves and cleanse our energy and our surroundings, but more importantly, some of the more uncommon ways. So you want to stick around throughout the video because I'm going to be peppering it with some uncommon ways that I utilize that works for me, and some ways that you can actually put into your daily practice. And at the end of the video, I'm going to be sharing with you a couple of secrets about cleansing that not a lot of people either know, understand, or really utilize to the level that they actually should be. So there is a ton of value in this video, and I do hope you stick around to the very end and enjoy it. So welcome back to the community for witches, pagans, spiritualists, and everybody in between. So let's get started. What do you do with energy that you might find stagnant, negative, or something that you just don't want to be a part of any longer? One surefire way of getting rid of negative energy, could be, well, no, not that. Let's start off with what is energy, right? Basic question, we can go hours just on that alone. But the reality of it is, nothing's at rest. Everything's actually in motion, and that motion can be is as far down as at the molecular level. So this pen right here is at one vibratory function or energy level, which allows it to have this shape, this feel, and this texture, versus this pair of scissors right here, which would have a much slower and more dense molecular motion and structure. So you get my point. Everything's energy, and everything, no matter what it is at a different vibration. Clearly, we're at a different vibratory level compared to the scissors, right? And with all that being said, we can control, cleanse, and utilize that energy to our benefit. And this is how we can start off by doing so. Very simple. This is something that I do on a daily basis, and I strongly recommend that you try this out. Now, whether you have coffee or whether you have tea, in this instance, I'm going to have some tea. This tea is a wild orange tea, which led me to a question of, is there such thing as wild oranges? And I'm kind of curious now, so let me know in a comment if there are, if you know of it, or what the hell that might mean actually. So, I take my tea or coffee, and I'll take a cinnamon stick. This cinnamon stick will actually become a wand, right? And I'll take it, and turning to the right, stirring to the right, I'll put all of the attributes I want for that day, the positivity that I need, and any other intentions I have set for myself for that day. Then I'll stop, and I'll turn to the left, and I'll push away any negativity, any self-defeating thoughts, anything that you perceive you wouldn't want to have in your day and in your energy field that day. And at the very end, I'll usually just draw a pentacle. And that being said, I'll put my intent into this tea, and then I'll leave my cinnamon stick in the tea. Now, I don't know if you've ever tried the cinnamon stick in the tea, but it's absolutely amazing. And at the same time, I'm creating my magical potion to help me start my day or get me through my day. And again, that can be tea, that can also be coffee. Now keep in mind with tea and coffee, again, it's all herbal. So the tea blend that you use can actually correspond to exactly what you want for that day, or you can put your intent in that tea bag to make it what exactly you want for your intent for that day. Same thing goes with coffee. You can do the exact same thing with whatever type of coffee that you use. And every ingredient after that, whether it be cream, milk, sugar, honey, whatever it might be. Although I've never tried honey and coffee. That's kind of weird. you're just going to put that intent into each one of those ingredients as well. Similar to what I just did with the cinnamon stick. So that's one thing right off the bat that if you're not doing, you can actually start doing right now by hitting pause on this video, making yourself your beverage of choice and doing it. So there's a lot of different ways that we can start off with cleansing. To be honest with you, the very first way that I always go to is jumping in the shower in the morning or at night when I come home. I make sure that I'm cleansing myself, cleansing my energy, and I'll do that same type of intent and visualization that we've come to know when we talk about. At the end of all that, I've actually washed away everything that's not serving my vibe and my purpose at that moment in time, and I just feel renewed. You can do that. Same thing goes by putting sigils on soap or soap bottles, drawing the sigil into the soap with that intent. Like me, I like making my own soap, so there's different herbs and intent that goes into my soap just for that reason. So that's probably the first and most common way people will actually cleanse, both literally as well as spiritually. Now, another way that people cleanse that's very common, or at least very commonly known, is smudging, right? So you can actually see I've used this smudge stick. You can also see I don't use it as often as one would think. Smudge sticks can be sage, can be something like dragon's blood. There's a lot of different types of sticks that you can actually use for cleansing material. Now, a couple of things to keep in mind with these sticks. Number one, they smoke a lot. So if you're living in an environment where you can't have smoke, or you're living in an environment that has a really sensitive smoke detector, this might not work so well for you, unless you like to hang out with the fire department or get really a lot of people pissed off at you. The other thing to consider when you're smudging, it's always a good idea to have open windows. Now, some people will say that's going to help get rid of that negativity and disperse it out, but the reality is it's changing the whole vibe in the room, so it's changing and managing the energy within the room itself. But mostly because getting the windows open is going to allow the smoke to clear out a lot quicker and make it a lot easier for anything that you have in your house. Another important factor to consider with sage, like with me, I'm a parrot owner. Coco, who's actually on my lap right now, hi, is my baby, along with my kitties. I won't use sage around Coco, nor will I use incense, scented candles, because it's not pet safe. So whatever you're going to use to cleanse, make sure that it's A, safe for you, and B, safe for everyone that you love and everything that you love, including pets and small children. So we talked about sage. Now, a viable alternative to smudging and incense is a spray. This spray I make myself. You can use witch hazel, you can use rubbing alcohol. In my case, I used Everclear grain alcohol. It's 190 proof, and I do like using that a lot. And whatever you use, you can add to it essential oils. Whatever essential oil works for you that you might want for cleansing for that period of time, or whatever really vibes with that intent that you need. Put it in here, and you just shake it, mix it, and you're good to go. And this one I actually carry in my car. And this is something I use on a daily basis. Strongly recommend. And the same thing goes with me doing psychic fairs. I always have incense burning at the table because incense is just another way to cleanse areas and spaces. Incense comes in many forms. It's relatively inexpensive, and it's something that you can use. Another aspect to use for cleansing is charcoal, a burner, or a cauldron, even better, and whatever herbs that you may want to put in that to cleanse your area and cleanse your space. So you're seeing that there's a lot of different options available to you at any given time. There's some things that are really overlooked that I like to bring forward. This is one. This is a Selenite wand. So Selenite is one of the most powerful cleaners that you have available to you. It literally draws away the negativity. I always have it on my altar. I always have it on my grimoire. And I always take it with me to my psychic fairs. And I cleanse my cards and I cleanse my table with it. And I can cleanse myself. Use stones and you use minerals. Keep one very important thing in mind. Know which ones can get wet and which ones cannot get wet. Like selenite, as an example, is a very fragile stone or mineral, we'll say. It's a mineral. Is with selenite, because it's a mineral, and because it's very soft, it can't get wet. It dissolves in water. It'll actually dissolve in your hands. So when you do handle selenite, you always want to wash your hands in between and afterwards. And certainly you would never want to put any minerals such as this inside of any water and drink it, because that can be a huge problem. Along with that, one more disclaimer before we move on: keep it away from pets, keep it away from kids. And again, it's something that we always want to consider with anything that we're using as a magical object or that we're bringing into our life, right? Some other common ways that you can utilize are candles. You can dress this candle with very specific oils, because you can make your own oils for that reason as well. And you can dress them with herbs. Light the candle. As you're lighting it, just imagine the light from the candle, that energy and that power from the candle is moving throughout your house, and it's changing the environment, the vibration, and the energy within itself. And you can do that with short burning candles. If you're really having a bad time and you want to do something quick, you can even use a birthday candle. Really, you can use anything that's available to you to cleanse and make your space better for you in that moment in time. So we talked a lot about different ways of doing so. And now what I'd like to do is talk a little bit about some of the ways that I personally do it that you may want to adapt of your own, or if not, just so that you know a little bit more about me. So the first big secret that, I shouldn't say big secret. So the first thing I wanted to bring up that we talked about at the beginning of, hey, stick around to the end of the video, you're going to be hearing some stuff that maybe you know and maybe you don't know. This is going to be one of those things. So one of the things that I really enjoy doing is getting outside. You can utilize the energy from the sun, the moon, the wind, the rain, the ground to change your vibe, change your energy, cleanse yourself, and allow yourself to move forward with the intent that you feel necessary to get you through that moment in time or throughout your day. Personally, just last week, we had this real bad heat wave up in New England, and we got this really, really, really cool storm later on at night, like maybe midnight or so. I had to go outside and I had to shower in that rain. It was pouring out, it was stormy out, and I just cleansed myself. It was wonderful. And I live in a private enough area where I could do that with my clothes off. I would not suggest doing that if you don't have a private area to do so. At the bare minimum, no pun intended, you may want to just wear trunks and a bathing suit. But long story short, just going for a walk in that rain will be cleansing and will allow you to change your state. Another overlooked way, as I said a little bit earlier, is the wind. Getting out there in the wind, getting out there in nature, and especially on a windy day, will blow away all that's no longer serving you and just blow upon you everything that you need to serve yourself and to serve that moment in time. Sunlight, moonlight, same exact thing. So those are some of the overlooked ways that you can actually do so. Another aspect of all of this that I wanted to mention is a lot of times we'll call in all of the elements in order to help us along our way, help us to cleanse, or help us to transform the state that we're in to a much more appropriate vibratory state. So we'll call in the elements: earth, air, fire, water, and spirit. But one thing we sometimes neglect to realize is we're all of the elements. Think about it. Earth. Our bones are mineral. Our body is filled with minerals. We are earth. Fire. Our electrical impulses in our brain as well as in our heart, we're part fire. Water. Between a hydration and that we're made up of 60% water, there you go, and spirit. we're a spirit encased in a biological body or a biological cage right now. Eventually, the biology will wear away and our spirit will once again be free. So we are earth, air, fire, water, spirit. And so many a time we forget that, and it causes us to react to situations versus respond to situations. If we just keep in mind throughout our day and throughout our challenges and throughout our disenchantments, hey, we're all of the elements encased into one. We are the pentacle: earth, air, fire, water, spirit. I got this. I can handle this, and I'm going to move on, and I'm going to move on at a higher vibe than where I started from. So thank you for sticking around until the very end of the video. Now I'm going to share with you some of the things that I personally do throughout my day, throughout my year, to help me manage the energy that I need going into my day, my week, and into my moments. So first and foremost, I did explain to you about my sprays and how I keep that in my car, and I love it. It absolutely works perfectly. It changes my state instantaneously, and it helps me with getting rid of anything that's attached to me that I don't want. Now, inside my house, I have to come up with some more user pet-friendly options. So one that I have is this plastic bottle. Don't mind that, that's just a cat and then being chased by a bird. So, you know, everything's snow in my household right now. So this right here, I utilize in conjunction with my moon water. It's most important to remember this is plastic, so you do not use any type of alcohol-based products with it. I use moon water, and what I will do is I will infuse intent. Along with that, I'll incorporate some herbs, or at the very minimal, a couple of different drops of essential oils for those herbs. And then I'll utilize that. When I need to, I just add more moon water. And like I said, I make a lot of moon water every full moon, so it's certainly something to do. The same thing with new moon water and have a new moon bottle as well. Just another option available to you. Now, another option that I exercise quite a lot is these little tea bags right here. I make a lot of my own teas, of course, so it stands to reason that I have these sealable tea bags. You can get them anywhere, and they're dirt cheap. So what you can do is fill this up with very specific things. Personally, I like to use salt. I like to use various herbs. And here's a secret not everyone actually understands or knows. You can use red brick dust for protection as well as for positivity. Now, personally, there's a lot of schools of thought on red brick dust. Some of the more witchy snobs say, oh, well, you can't use more modern bricks because it's not made of clay, so therefore it's not going to work. Personally, I don't subscribe to that. I think if you're using something, you're putting the intent for it to work, and it becomes symbolic at that point. So certainly, any red brick dust works. So I'll fill this up with some of those and maybe even more ingredients, and I'll either hang them just as they are in corners within my house, or I'll put them inside one of these satchels, and boom. Put that in the corners of the house. And either every season or more frequently, depending upon what I feel is important at that point in time, I'll change them out. If you do use salt, I can't stress enough, use salt responsibly. Do your research and discover the most appropriate and safe way to get rid of salt versus just throwing it out your window into nature. That's not a good idea to do. Is making sigils, and making sigils with markers on my shaving cream, on my soap dispensers if I'm not using my homemade soap, or anywhere else that I feel necessary, including my doorways. Doing the same thing with using black salt and using my finger to make a sigil. Works the same way. But making sigils on items, put that intent into that item and make it powerful and make it magical. As you remember with my body butter video, I actually put that intent into the body butter. You would be at the very end of the video is something that I incorporate every year. Now, every year I celebrate Yule, right? We all do. So when I celebrate Yule, the day that we're going to be putting together the Yule log, I usually cook a dinner. And then I actually make my homemade witch's brew. which maybe this year there'll be a video on it so that you can actually make it yourself. So in my witch's brew, I fill my bag up with various herbs and various things that for me are all about you, all about love, about abundance, about good health and good luck and all of those good things. And then I'll take this bag and I'll put it in the libations of choice. Most of the time it's some form of wine or a wine combination with something else. That being said, I'll let this seep inside of that wine for 45 minutes to an hour or longer so that all of that energy, all that intent goes into my witch's brew, becoming a magical potion that myself and my friends share as we're putting together our Yule log. And what I do with this, once it dries out, is it goes on top of my door so that it protects my home and it protects everyone coming in that door and takes away any negative energy that could actually be trying to come in. Now, that all being said, at the very end of the year, when I'm getting ready to celebrate the next Yule, when I'm getting ready to burn my Yule log, I will take my old satchel and I will put that on my Yule log, thanking the universe for this past year, thanking the satchel for all of the work that it's done for me this past year and for serving my intent and my purposes, as well as providing me with safety, protection, love, abundance, and everything else that I put into it. And I'll burn it with my Yule log. I save those ashes, and those ashes go back out into the universe when the log is completely burned and is nothing more than ash. And my new Yule bag, once dried, is placed on a door, and I repeat that each and every year. It's something really simple. It's something that you can put as part of your tradition, and it's really, really, really strong magic. And finally, the thing that I wanted to share with you the most that I've been putting off until the very end is everything is vibration, right? Energy is vibration. So we can instantaneously cleanse things by simply using bells. I have bells over each of my doorways and I use bells a lot. And a reason for that is bells were initially utilized for cleansing and for dissipating negative energy and negative spirits and to bring in positivity and blessings. And that's why they started being placed on door fronts. And then as time moved on, it became a merchant thing with a lot, what people thought would be just to allow them to know when someone's walking into the store. And that's true. But also it was for prosperity and for abundance. So the store would actually do well and people would open up their wallets and start spending some money out in those stores. It's an old pagan ritual. So using bells is a wonderful tool. If I want to cleanse my ring right now, I'm doing so simply by using that bell. That energy, that frequency goes into the universe and creates this ripple effect. And you'll see the negative dissipate and it will only bring in positive. So certainly use bells throughout your day. Now, it doesn't just have to be bells, although soothing. You can have yourself a charm bottle, such as this one. This is my abundance bottle, and I utilize this bottle for good energy. I utilize this bottle to cleanse negativity away from me, especially the negativity that would affect my abundance and my prosperity, and to bring prosperity, luck, fortune, and abundance into my life. And the way I do that is I just hold it and I shake it. 3 times. 3 times. 3 times. Then I put it down. But it's got my intentions written in there. And I've had this bottle for a few years. And it never disappoints. And it never lets me down. And maybe down the road I'll be doing a video on how to create your own abundance bottle. Let me know in the comments if that's something that you actually want to see. So these are just some of the options available to you. Things that I actually do in my daily practice. Now here's a daily helpful hint for you in case you don't want to be walking around carrying a bell. Can't blame you for that. Use your key rings. Anytime you're starting to feel a little bit of negative, anytime you feel the need of cleansing, use your key rings. I really have a simple life. I have my house key on this, and my car is touch-free, so I just have this pod on here that stays in my pocket. So I can still get the jingle, but I can guarantee you, if you have a lot of rings, key rings on your rings, you'll get, what did I just say? If you have a lot of keys on your key rings, you can get a lot more of a jingle. So these are some of the things that you have available to you that you can utilize to cleanse your own space. There are a lot of different ways of doing so, and I encourage each and every one of you to find the one that works for you. Find the one that turns you on. Find the one that says yes to you.
Yes! Yes!
Okay, you can go that route, or just find something that really, really vibes with you and allows you to cleanse your space without as much loud screaming. Do hope you enjoyed this video, and let me know in the comments what you thought, and let me know in the comments what you actually do. And if there's things that I didn't mention or I didn't bring up, don't be shy. Leave those in the comments as well. Now, this is the point in time when I say things like, subscribe, leave me that comment. And so I literally just said that. But one of the other aspects that you can help me grow my channel and get me pushed out into the YouTube universe is really simple and costs no money whatsoever. If you just watch a couple of videos back to back, or you let a playlist play while you're going to bed at night, that actually pushes my engagement level on the YouTube algorithm much higher up, which means it pushes my content out to a much broader, larger audience base, which in turn will help me grow my community and grow our community and grow my channel. And so if you can do that, that would certainly be appreciated by me. So comments, likes, 3 of the basic free ways that you can actually help me grow my channel. And to help you along with that, here are a couple of videos for you to check out. And as always, thank you for watching. Be safe, be well, and be blessed.